G'day, welcome back. I'd like to especially welcome my new subscribers and I hope you enjoy the content on my channel. If you missed part one of the boring head build, there's a link up there now, you can go watch it first. Now over the last year I've pumped out more than 50 videos and I've decided that I'm going to take a small break over December, so there'll be a couple of weeks where I won't get anything out. I'd like to wish each and every one of you a very Merry Christmas, regardless of your religious beliefs or whether you celebrate Christmas or not. And if I don't get a video out again before the 1st of January, then I also want to wish you a very happy new year, or as my hash friends would say, hashy new beer. But anyway, like I said, I'd like to thank you, each and every one of you, for tuning in over the last year and watching my videos. I really appreciate the time you take to do that. So now let's wander over to the mill and get on with this. Alrighty, so first cab off the rank will be to slot this through here. I just want to add that the reason I wanted to mount this in here was, you know, it needs to be tilted and rotated through quite a few phases for everything you've got to do in here. So that's why I put it in there, because everything's at 90 degrees. I made up a little clamp to put in here so that I can clamp this thing without it kicking. So we're all set up, ready to go, but it's a case of all dressed up and nowhere to go. Or should I say, all set up and nothing to do. I ran around like a headless chicken the other day looking for the 20mm collet, and I kept thinking, what the hell have I done with it? Why can't I find it? And then it suddenly occurred to me after about half an hour that it's in there. So I've ordered another one and it's due here today, but who knows when. Could be around lunchtime, or it could be mid-afternoon, it could be late afternoon, so I'll just have to wait till it gets here. Bit of cricket on today, so England playing Australia in a one-day international, so I might go and sit down and watch that for a while. It's not my day today. Normally when you're not in a hurry for anything, the thing gets here mid-morning. This has just arrived here and it's just gone beer o'clock. But I'm determined to get this done today because it's Sunday tomorrow. My wife's no noise day. But if I knock this over today, at least I can drill and tap them tomorrow without making too much noise. She won't be bitching about it. And then just to top it off, my daughter says, Dad, I want ice cream. So take her up the road. There's 7-Elevens half a kilometre from here, if that. Left here with the sun shining. The sun is still shining. I got caught in a heavy downpour of rain. It's rained every freaking afternoon this week. I'm just sick and tired of it. But anyway, let's get this done. Righto, that was a 4mm deep cut. We'll do another 4mm. Alrighty, I took that nice and steady because that's the only slitting saw I got, and I absolutely did not want to break it. So that's that done. Tomorrow morning I'll come out and I'll drill and tap these holes in here. Alrighty, I hope you enjoyed that little bit of humour from my childhood. So this morning, while you weren't looking, I very quietly milled 3 flats on here, centre drilled them. So now I'm going to drill them ready for tapping M5. It's actually a little bit hard to tell when you've broken through into that slot. Alrighty, that's that. Now I'll go get a tap and tap on. Alrighty, so if you're like me, you don't have a fancy spring-loaded tapper liner, if you just use your chuck, close it right up. There's a little tiny hole in the centre there, and that locates in there really nicely. So just do what I'm going to do. So the thing is, you've got to follow it down, that's all. Tiniest little bit of pressure on it and just keep winding it down to meet it as you go till you start it. I really am keen to see if these are going to lock up or not. It's always the way, every time I turn this camera on, you can be quiet here for 2 hours, and the minute you turn the camera on, cars and bikes up and down the street like Main Street. Unbelievable. I don't know if you can hear that away in the distance. They drive around here in utes or pickups to you Americans with bloody big loudspeakers on them blaring out. Any other country in the world would be considered noise pollution. but not here. I'm going to have to make myself one of those spring-loaded tap followers, I think. Just another little project for some time down the track. Righty, so that's that. Righty, just whack a couple of screws in there. See, these things got off and have ball bearings under them, but I might have room under that middle one, but nothing else. Alrighty, moment of truth. See how we go. If you're wondering about these centre pot marks I got in here, they were so I could put them back in the chuck, roughly where I had them in the first place, to make tramming it up a bit easier. Just mark one of the jaws and then just put a little centre pop in it, because all that's got to be turned off anyway, just to true it all up. That's a longer screw. I need plenty of room. That one for a ball bearing. Yeah, these outer ones don't have any room. Even a 3mm one probably be too much to stick up over the top. Alrighty. Oh, that's not good. These shit Allen keys. Look at them. Just rounded it off. Probably shit Allen screws. Oh, it looks like I'm getting the hole saw back in there and putting a nick down in here. Alrighty, I just thought of something. I didn't back those damn screws off before I did that. Well, I don't know if that's enough or not, so I think I'll try it in there, see how it goes. Wish I could buy some Unbreako brand Allen keys here. These things are just rubbish. Soft as poop. I haven't gone in on the same plane as that dovetail, because I don't want this rubbing on it and making it any worse than it already is. Starting to wonder if I've come in too far with these screws. I came in 4mm, so halfway. Oh, damn it. Bloody rubbish. God. I think it's the screws, actually. A little assortment I bought. Damn it. Bloody hell, now I can't get it undone. Unbelievable. Jesus Christ. Rubbish. I'll get back to you. Well, that fixed its little red wagon. I eventually got that screw out. I had to get it out of there and give it a bit of a love tap with a pin punch on the top, and I ground the end off this thing, so it's no, not that one, the other one, so it's not all rounded off. I got it undone, but that's got it. I went in and cut this just a little bit deeper. That took some lining up to get that back into that slot. Anyway, so but I'm glad I got this in here, because that made it so much easier just to turn it back around to get it in there. But that's got it locked up now, so happy about that. Alrighty, so next cab off the rank will be to drill this right through. That's 5mm for a M6 thread. I don't have a boring bar to clean all this hole up, so it's all going to have to be done with drills and or mills, or end mills. Been lots of yak so far in this video, not much work, so from this point on until I finish that hole there won't be much talking, so let's get on with it. I haven't had this trouble before with this, but then again I've not drilled a hole this deep. Jesus, that took forever. Right, now I'm going to go about halfway in with this 10mm drill. Good grief, Charlie Brown. Next up, 14mm drill. This one might come very close to breaking through this edge. I want to end up at 20mm. That's that one. From now on it'll be end mills, although I've got something in mind, so I'm going to check out. I'm going to have a look at my 12mm shafted boring bar and see how big a hole that will cut if I fit it up into a collet. It might be might get me better started, because the next end mill I've got is 5/8 or 16mm, and I've got to jump straight up to a 20, which is a big jump. Anyway, we'll see how we go. Alrighty, the DRO was saying that's still in the same spot it was in before, and looking here it doesn't look like this has moved, but that's looks to be off centre. Anyway, I'm going to put this in here now and just see how we go. See how we go this time. Turn that speed down. Look at the tip, might put a new tip in it. Yeah, I think I'll put a new tip in it. See how that goes. I think that's just looking for trouble. I'm going to investigate a couple of things, I'll come back to you. Alrighty, so I dug out this new 20mm indexable cutter. It's not liking that at all. Started out okay, but it's just trying to cut too much, I think, for a plunge cut. So I'm going to call it a day and have a think about this and see what I can come up with to finish this off with tomorrow. It's a bit noisy too, and that's going against that no noise Sunday. Alright, till tomorrow. Well, late start today and I'm not a happy chappy. I've just spent 45 minutes sitting in roadworks traffic to go and get my visa stamp at immigration, only to be told that the woman who has to sign off on it's not there. Oh, yeah, how nice of you. And the ties don't bother to ring in when they're sick or whatever, they just don't show up. So they couldn't tell me whether she'd be in today at all or not. Unbelievable. Anyway, I was doing a bit of editing yesterday afternoon after I knocked off, and I was watching this thing jumping all over the place, and I decided I would do something I didn't really want to do and cut that down, make it shorter. And I had a bit of a go at it. It's not too bad. My problem is this thing, when it comes down, tends to jump. It sticks and then it'll move, and sticks and then it'll move. Play in the lead screw nut. I've tried getting rid of it, I haven't had any luck. But anyway, if I go really steady, it's not too bad. The last thing I need for this to do is go tits up today. That'll really get me going. Well, I guess that didn't go too bad, I suppose. While I was doing that, I was thinking I might get the 20mm high-speed steel end mill out and just get the diamond stones and try and just sharpen it up a little bit, because it's really blunt. Anyway, I'll have a look into that. Alrighty, so I just tried that high-speed steel one without trying to sharpen it, and it sort of cut and it wasn't. And now I've got this carbide one, I'll give it another go. Oh, it didn't go too bad, I suppose. I might put that high-speed steel one back in and run it to the bottom. Just try and clean the bottom face up a bit. Well, I think that's going to have to do that. Time to do something about tapping that 6mm thread in there, I think. Got a nice little rounded end on this. It's doing the job, or did the job. Alrighty, so now I'm going to go sit down and have a quick think about what it is I want to do next, because I really don't want to take this out of that collet chuck until I've done everything that I need to do in there, so I don't have to try and retrim it all back in again. And then the very last thing I'll do is, well, second last thing will be to turn the outside off, then the last thing will be to turn the Morse taper on the back. So there's not much left to do into this now. I don't think there's anything left to do in this other than clean it up. So now it's onto the end piece. Now, this is a setup that would probably freak a few of you out. It's not as bad as it looks. When I went to cut this in here, in the mill, it just chewed the living daylights out of it, and I wasn't at all happy with it, and I thought long and hard about how I could fix it. And then I decided putting it in the lathe was the only way I was going to do it. So I started out with this in here, machined it together to get to that diameter, so that I could finish, then bore it out and make it all true. I'll show you in a second how this is held in here, because you're looking at that thinking, God, that's not held in there by much, but I'll show you what is in a moment. I just want to assemble this back together and just check that I haven't taken more out of here than I took out of there. Bring you back in a minute. Alright, so that all looks pretty good. I'm happy with it now. I wasn't happy at all with it before. Oh my God, why isn't it falling out? That would be because it's screwed on here. What I did was, because I got a hollow spindle that's 20mm, this is a piece of McPherson strut, and it's a good neat fit up in there, so I drilled and tapped a 6mm hole in it. Then I used the 6mm thread in the back here, and I'm glad I went all the way through with it now. I put a fairly long rub screw in it, did it up tight, and then screwed this thing onto it. So there we have it. Nice clean finish in there now. Get on with it. Well, that needs a bit of polishing up. I thought you'd seen me drill enough holes in this thing, so while you weren't looking, I went in and I drilled this one and the centre one. This mark here, while I still had it in the vise, or in the mill, I started trying to machine the scallop in it, and it just tore it out. So I decided I'm going to have to hold it in the collet in there before I put the Morse taper on it to do them. But I noticed I've still got some jaw marks on here, so I'll have to make another pass. Get it all. Nah, still a bit there. Yeah, and my centre punch mark's still there too. Not that I'm all that worried about that. No, we'll go one more. I'll bring you back later. I'll polish all this thing up. I'm going to have some lunch when I'm done here, and I'll go meet you back at the mill. Alrighty, so I didn't polish up too bad. Probably do some more, but I'm not the polishing kind. At any rate, we'll get on with this. I'm going to test cut there just to see how it's going to go. Don't want to push it too hard. It's obviously going to take a while, and I'm doing a bit of editing at lunchtime. I'm already out over 20 minutes. We've still got a bit to do yet, so I'll bring you back later. Well, I don't mind telling you that that did not go well. I had a jam once and bend my good roughing cutter. Moved it all. But anyway, I've got a plan stand. I've ended up having to tip more off than I bloody wanted to. But I'll flip it around now and drill some holes in there, some clamping holes. And then I've got a plan to clean this up. Alrighty, so I ran a fly cutter across there to clean that up. It's left a little ridge, but I'll get rid of that. I'll just finish this as the last of those 2 clamping screws. And I've had enough for one day, and I'm going to call it a day. So tomorrow morning I'll set it up and knock this other side off. And then all I've got left to do then is mill the slot in the back of this for the adjusting screw, and make the adjusting screw and turn that back taper. If you've been enjoying this video up until this point, I'd really appreciate it if you'd give it a great big thumbs up and smash that like button. Helps me out, helps to spread the love. Bloody raining here today, and this is one of the things I intend to try and fix over December. Look at this damn thing, it's so stretched and swollen from all the rain we've had this year, and it's split now, leaking water everywhere. Alrighty, time to put this slot in the back of here so we can get a little bit closer to finishing. I'll slow that down a bit. And light just went off over there too. Alright, back on. That'll do me. Now there's something I didn't consider when I decided where I was putting everything. I've broken through into this hole here. With that, oh well, doesn't matter. I think we'll be okay. Alrighty, it's time to make this screw. So I've just cleaned the face, the end and the outside up. We'll get on with it. This will take a while. I've got to get this end down to 6mm, so I'll come back later. Alrighty, that last one was a spring pass at 1400 RPM and moving pretty slowly. Time to thread it. I'm going to run out of shaft there in a second. Nice thread. Alrighty, so while you weren't looking, I've put the groove in here, and quickly, while the bird next door is not using a pressure cleaner, little sanity check, beautiful, fits perfectly. So now I'll part that off and we'll do something about doing the front side and engraving some markings in it. Alrighty, so I fitted up the collet chuck and I've set this in here and set a face there. Actually I might make it just a little bigger. I'm worried that I won't leave myself enough room to stamp some numbers on it. I've put an Allen headed grub screw in there, if you hear that thunder rumbling around out there, and Loctite it in place to turn it with. I was going to do this, engrave all this afternoon and do it today, but we just had a massive downpour here and now I'm standing in puddles of water again. It's one of my pet hates, wet feet. So I think I'll leave this till tomorrow morning and do it then. So that's all I've got left to do now is engrave all of this, put the numbering on it, turn the taper on the back end of the body, and then we're done. Alrighty, so my wish for a fine morning didn't eventuate. We had a storm and it's been raining, but at least it's rain stopped now. I've done this quite a few times on camera, so I'm not going to videotape all of this. What I'll do is put some links down in the description. For the most, there was one where I explained everything, my spindle break and exactly how I go about this. Put some links down there. I'll bring you back later when I'm just about done. Just like I said, as soon as you turn that camera on, someone drives down the street. Thank Christ for that. These 80 small marks just take forever. I'll move this camera and I'll give you a better look. These 80 small marks, they really are a pain in the arse. They just take forever. And I've got to admit, they are the smallest ones I've ever done. Alrighty, so while I'm winding this thing back, I spent an eternity tramming everything in here. I put one of the mill tools in with a 2 Morse taper arbor on it and trimmed the compound slide into that so that I could get this angle right. Now, I'm getting very close. I didn't bother film too much of it because it's taken me bloody forever. It's getting very, very close to where I want to be. I'm going to have to clean this up to shitty looking finish. I'm just going to change this over now to a 0.8 tip and run it up there and see if I can get a better finish. Just going to check minimum diameter is 14.5. That's still, that's 14.8, and up here is about the right distance up there. 17.5. Actually, we're a little under that. Change this tip over and we'll run a 0.8 up there and see if I can get a better finish on it. That finish on there, that's a straight off the tip 0.8 radius. Haven't done anything to it at all. Beautiful finish. It won't take too much off this, just to clean up past that. That was interesting the way that cut. It looks really lumpy. Oh, well, I'm going to try and clean that up a bit with some sandpaper and everything. I'll get back there. Well, that looks a whole lot better than when last you saw it. I'm just going to turn down a little bit just here to finish things off and we'll be done. And then all I've got left to do then is put the tailstock back in, drill and tap the end, M10. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, viewers one and all, that's the last thing to do on this, outside of a little bit of deburring. So I'll get it out of there and I'll put it all together and I'll show you the net result of all of this. Can't say I'm not glad it's kind of finished. Well, viewers, there it is. I've got to say I'm not too proud to admit that, mostly I think because I didn't have anything to copy, there are a couple of mistakes in this thing. Both are fairly easily rectified. When I cut this undercut in here, I didn't go deep enough and there's a gap in there. So, I mean, I can put it back in the lathe and undercut that some more. And I said when I cut the slot in there that I'd hit the top of this hole here. Well, that would be because it's on the wrong side. Should be on that side. And I only noticed that when I was watching another video on Friday afternoon by another Aussie guy, and he was using quite a big boring head, and he had it tilted over on an angle in the head like this, and I could see the bottom of it. And I've gone, no wonder I chopped into that when I shouldn't have. But anyway, but outside of that, looks pretty nice, I think. these engravings in here just a bit on the light side, but I can see them, so that's all that really matters. I've got to put a mark just here yet. But anyway, there it is. I'm relatively happy with it, all in all. I'll have to, I'll put this one in here, that's easy enough to do. Drill and tap another hole in there. But anyway, that's it. Once again, Merry Christmas, and I hope Santa brings you something that you really want or need. So, thanks for watching, and Happy New Year if I don't see you again before then. Bye bye.